Did your press go live?
I would have to say world peace. Definitely world peace. World peace. World peace.
What is the one most important thing our society needs?
That would be harsher punishment for parole violators, Stan. And world peace.
Thank you, Gracie Lee.
And thank you, Stan.
Cheryl Frazier.
Hey, gotta leave. Cheryl Frazier, a riots group involved in several bombings.
Cheryl? That Cheryl?
Describe your perfect date.
Tough one. I'd have to say April 25th because it's not too hot, not too cold. All you need is a light jacket.
Right, now there is a hardened criminal.
New Jersey, which means our new Miss United States is
Don't take the cup. Don't take it. Don't take it.
Taste. Hold your pride.
Jersey's going berserk.
To the sky. She stands for all that's good. And she's great. States. She's She's Miss United States.
Okay. Good show, everybody.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. It is April 25th. It's not too hot. It's not too cold. All we need is a light jacket. I'm going to tell you why, because, well, first of all, welcome to Saturdays for Sanity. I'm Michelle Kinney. I'm here with Julie Roginsky, Lawrence Winter, and Dana Dubois from the Daily Whatever Show. We're so happy to have them here with us on Saturdays. But here's the big news, guys. Here's the big news. It is Julie's birthday. It is Julie's birthday.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday to you.
Oh, I need the Maryland version, not that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
That's
Maybe
the first
later.
time I've heard you sing. Just the tiniest bit, but I've heard you sing.
Yes, we're not streaming to Substack for some reason. I just saw. I don't.
Yeah, it's for some reason not connecting. I don't know why. But here's the thing. Julie, I don't know if you want to troubleshoot that or not. That's up to you. But I wanted to give everybody a little treat today for Julie's birthday. A couple videos that I have put together, because one of my favorite things about Julie, other than the fact that she is super awesome and nice and a wonderful friend, she's also Russian and used to work at Fox News. And if you go on YouTube, there are so many videos of Julie on Fox News in her whole thing and talking about Russia. So I have two different videos that I want to show of Julie back in the day. Okay. Hot Mama Julie. Okay.
Well,
there's one.
Go ahead,
girl. All right. Let's all be the judge here. Let me play it and then we're going to talk about it.
Julie Roginsky is a Democratic strategist and a Fox News contributor. Julie, what about that? What about the whole Russian reset thing and the hot mic moment where President Obama said he was going to have more flexibility?
Well, there's one common denominator, right? George Bush came in, said he looked into Vladimir Putin's soul and saw a good person there. Barack Obama, it was actually Hillary Clinton when she was Secretary of State, that wanted to do the reset. Now we have President-elect Trump praising Vladimir Putin. The common denominator is this. They will always be led down by Vladimir Putin because Vladimir Putin is an authoritarian despot who longs for the days of the Soviet Union's greatness and considers the West to be the perfect foil for convincing his own people who are struggling economically and living in an increasingly repressive regime that all their problems stem not from his policies but from the West. And so the West will always be the red flag for the Russians to use against their own people, or at least for Vladimir Putin. I will say this about the sanctions. They are, and I don't even call them sanctions. I don't know what this is. I call it a disgraceful and weak move by the Obama administration. Lindsey Graham is absolutely right. What Congress needs to do, I don't have any confidence that President-elect Trump would sign this into law, but I would hope that President Obama would have done this. He failed to do that, which is go after Vladimir Putin and his inner circle economically. That is the only language Vladimir Putin understands. He only understands if you go after the billions of dollars in assets that he has shielded in the West and around the world. The oligarchs that prop him up and surround him have assets all over Western Europe and in the United States, including real estate fortunes and also personal fortunes in equity markets in London and the New York Stock Exchange. Freeze those assets, go after them in the pocketbook. It is the only language Putin understands. Throwing out a bunch of quote-unquote diplomats who are really intelligence agents, that's what we used to do during the Cold War. Each side did that to the other. It doesn't make any difference. They'll send new ones in. Punishing the Russian intelligence services by banning them from coming here? Okay, great. What does that do to Vladimir Putin or the oligarchs who are threatening the Russian people and the West with their reprehensible behavior? This is a weak and feckless move by the Obama administration, and I am disgusted with how weak it is.
Julie Roginsky and Boyd Matheson. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Guys.
Well, let me say this. Can I just say something? First of all, friends, this is what somebody looks like in real life. And that is what somebody looks like after an hour of Fox News hair and makeup. So for anybody who watches, if there are any young girls watching and they look at magazines or they look at TV and they think that's real life, fake hair, fake eyelashes, 5 pounds of makeup, all professionally done. So please understand that that is not what people look like in real life. This is what somebody looks like when they rolled out of bed and did not bother brushing their hair today.
Equally beautiful, by the way.
Thank you, but they're
Very beautiful.
very different.
I want to bring up. Ooh, I'm echoing. I don't know why for a second. So I just want to bring up that in December of 2016, when Donald Trump hadn't been sworn in yet, Julie was on Fox News as a paid contributor talking about Russia. Okay. And she probably was one of the only people on that network talking about Russia. And that was, guys, almost a decade ago. And look where we are now. So here she is a year and change. Here she is a year later in 2017, giving it to Vladimir Putin on her digital show that landed her on Putin's hate list, along with Joe Biden and many other Americans. So I just want to play this.
Welcome to the Clapback with Julie Roginsky, where we take Twitter back from the trolls, so haters may hate, but I clap back. And my clapback apparently hit so hard, it reached all the way to Russia. And they went from bear to troll. Here's a little refresher from last week's segment. Программу Clapback с Юлией Рогински, где мы защищаем Твиттера от тех людей, которые нам посылают. For our overlords in Russia, and especially to Volodya from Leningrad, наша демократия сильнее, чем вы не победите. So Russia Today, or RT as they like to be called now because they don't really want anybody to know that it's Russia Today, jumped on that. Quote, Fox News host speaks Russian on air in outburst to potential Russian overlords. Well, it really wasn't an outburst, it was quite planned. And then it gets better. Apparently Nick, or some guy claiming to be Nick, the press secretary of the Russian embassy here in the U.S., felt similarly, calling what I was saying Russia-phobia, to which I responded, quote, nice to be trolled by the Russian embassy, which apparently forgets how Soviets forced those in their sphere of influence to learn Russian. Let me remind our viewers of what Russification is. It's the policy of enforcing Russian culture and language on the vast numbers of ethnic minorities that lived in the Russian Empire. And according to the BBC, for Russification under Stalin by the end of the 1930s, the Christian church and the Muslim religion were forbidden. Ethnic groups were persecuted, and Russification, the acceptance of Russian language and customs, was enforced throughout the Soviet Union. And despite all that, Nick is still looking for an I'm sorry, or as we say in Russian, Коля, я извиняться совсем не буду. So I responded to that request with this tweet. Here's the deal. You apologize for cyber espionage illegally annexing Crimea, and I'll apologize for my Moscow accent not being what it once was. Because you know, Nick, or Koля, which is the Russian nickname for Nick, you should really learn the history of your country, the country that I came from also, which is that the Russian majority oppressed every single minority, not just in the former Soviet Union, forcing them to learn Russian, taking on Russian customs, but also in their sphere of influence in the near abroad, in the places that they took over in the Warsaw Pact, forcing those people
to learn the Russian language in schools, making sure that they had some sort of affinity for the Russian culture. You know who knows that? Vladimir Putin, because he spent a lot of his KGB career in East Germany, and the last time I was in East Berlin, before they merged into one Berlin, there were a lot of signs there in Russian. Why would the Germans ever have to learn Russian if they didn't have to have any sort of Russification foisted upon them? So let me say it in English to our potential Russian overlords. Haters or entire governments may hate, but I clap back. I'm Julie Roginsky with Fox News.
Amazing.
Amazing.
Julie Roginsky.
Guys.
Michelle, you did deep dives there on YouTube.
Oh, I did.
If only we had listened to Hillary Clinton and Julie Roginsky.
This is what I'm saying. Now? Right. Julie tried to save us.
Well,
I
will say this. That little dig at Obama that I made in 2016, I stand by, because they did not go after the Russians the way they should have after Russian election interference, which they did not take seriously.
Yeah.
And so shame on Obama for not doing more. And of course, we don't need to belabor shame on Donald Trump for being a Russian asset and stooge.
Well, yeah.
To anybody who said that I look a little bit like Melania in the chat,
they said in the best possible way, because I obviously don't like Melania, but I actually think she's very beautiful. So
do you really think that? Because I don't. I think Melania looks really angry. Like, I think Melania does not. Yeah, like, I don't think Melania is pretty.
But when she smiles, I think she's pretty.
I think she's got those
that
weird.
sounds really sexist of me. That I shouldn't have said that.
I think the character of one's soul absolutely affects, right? And she clearly is not a happy person and does not have a happy soul. So even when she smiles, she looks like she's sucking on lemons.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
And I have this like very weird talent for remembering birthdays. Lawrence can attest to this since we've known each other so many years. Melania's birthday is tomorrow.
Are you kidding me?
You two almost share a birthday, yes. And she's a 1970 baby. So Lawrence, she's right between our two ages. Yeah. And I look at her and I don't see a peer. I don't even know what I see. Like she's had a lot of work done and just the rot in her soul. She looks very robotic to me. I mean, I don't want to pick on her looks. There's so many other things to pick on, but you do not. I don't see anything about you that looks like her, Julie.
Not a fan. I don't know what's going on with Substack because I did select destination, so I don't know what's happening there. So I apologize.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I guess it's not going to be awesome.
This is more Lawrence's domain. I'm like learning how to link StreamYard and Substack and build them, but I always like bunk something off. So whenever we have a big show like yesterday, I'm like, Lawrence, please make the StreamYard go, because he's better at it. He's more experienced.
No, it always works. I don't know why it's not working today. I tried it twice. So anyway, whatever. We'll live without Substack today. So friends, thank you for the birthday wishes. I am 53. I am very happy to be 53 because I don't have a problem with aging. I think it's amazing. That is me when I was 3 and not 50. That was 50 years ago.
You're the cutest.
You were the cutest. Look at you.
And just so people know, her son looks exactly like her. Like that is like the twin of your little kiddo. I mean, I say that like as, you know.
You think so?
Like absolutely. Oh my God.
He does. He looks actually more like my mom. I feel like I gave birth to my mother's child. I feel like we like yeah. Like
I feel the same way about my older daughter.
Yeah.
Julie. Like the beauty skipped a generation. She looks so much like my mom.
He looks like my mom. And it's so interesting because when my mom was about, I would say 10 years ago, my mom was younger and he was younger. And he was very blonde. And my mom, it's not a natural blonde, but she was when she was little. She no longer obviously is. But when they would walk down the street, people would stop them on the street, literally stop them on the street to tell them how much they look like each other. Like in New York, which is crazy. Like,
wow.
Saying how much they used to look like each other. So yeah, I feel like my mom and I look alike, but he and my mom are like twins. It's
yeah.
But you were very cute little 3-year-old
Soviet girl. I know. Thank you. I was looking at that picture this morning and I was thinking, I remember that apartment in Moscow so well. And I remember one of my grandparents who I lived with took that picture. And I was just thinking like how much, as I think we all do when we reflect on birthdays, like how much has happened since. And I've had an amazing life. Like I have had just a crazy journeys throughout, my life. And if everything ended today, which hopefully will not, but I've had an amazing life. Like I'm so grateful for everything that I've had. I'm so grateful for this community that who knew when I was a little 3-year-old that something like the internet would exist and
Right.
we would build this community. And we talked about this on your show yesterday, Lawrence and Dana, but like the best part of Substack is meeting these incredible people. Like when would I have ever met you guys? Like Michelle, I probably met anyway, but like the two of you, like
Right. We would have had to have been in New York buying chocolate babka at a very specific time.
It's very chocolate, right?
Nice follow through, Lawrence.
Very
Nice
nice,
follow-through.
Lawrence. And and not just you guys, but everybody in this community. I mean, there are people like Rosie from Melbourne, I think is where you're from, right, Rosie? There's I think you're from Melbourne. Oh, you're definitely Australian. I just don't remember exactly which town, but and all these other people from Canada, from all over the United States, from Britain. We have so many people from the United Kingdom. Your king is coming here on Monday to try to calm down and pacify our baby president. So like it's just incredible. And knowing about people's lives and going through their struggles with them. We always have people in the chat who've just gone through something awful, and the entire community just rallies around them because they've known each other for now the year or so that we've been doing this, a year and a half. So, I love it. And I'm so grateful to you guys. And Lawrence, I think you were doing some voodoo on me earlier this morning with some.
I was going to say, if ever there was an astrological chart that was just like, oh, okay, I see it now.
Oh, really?
It's particularly, your chart is incredible. And
I
did
I don't know anything about astrology.
You have no idea what you have unleashed here, because Lawrence is like maybe secret talent on Substack because people don't know you for this, but you are an incredible astrologer.
Really?
Well, thank you.
Yes.
I'm fascinated by just like the way humans try to understand things, the systems we build. So like Chinese astrology and Chinese herbal medicine and Western astrology, like I'm just fascinated by, thousands of generations of shepherds stood on hills and looked at the stars and were like, when that one gets close to that one, the king usually dies, or, something.
Yeah.
And that all kind of got codified. The first astronomers were astrologers trying to figure out the more precise, and so I've considered myself a very science-based person, but I love astrology. The problem with it is when I see a chart like Julie's, because Julie's chart, when I say things, you're going to be like, oh, cool. So you've met Julie and you looked at her Wikipedia page. Good for you. Like there are things in her chart that are so glaringly obvious. Like, gosh, you guys, she's got 0 degrees of Gemini rising. Like her entire presence is communication and having a Quicksilver gift of being able to speak articulately and get her point across quickly. Like we just saw that in those video clips.
Absolutely.
Your rising sign,
like Chinese.
Gemini's.
I know. I was like, I don't know what any of that means. But
what is that? What is that chart?
Let me put it back up.
So this is your birth chart. This is your natal chart.
Okay.
And the easiest way to think about it is the line across the middle is the horizon. So everything on the top half of the chart is what was actually literally in the sky at the moment that you were born.
Okay.
And everything in the bottom of the chart was not visible because it was on the other side of the earth. And so when we look at your chart, a little counterintuitively, the left side is east and the right side is west. And you were born at 6 o'clock on the dot in the morning. And because you were born in Moscow, the houses are really exaggerated because you were born at such a high latitude. So the sun was already well above the horizon, right? By the time you were born at 6 a.m.
Okay.
And when we, you kind of chunk out the chart into houses, there are 12 houses, and they are related to and complementary to the 12 signs. And also they kind of serve a different purpose. And so an astrological chart is a really information dense object. So I can tell a lot of things about your personality, your life, the things that you were sort of born with advantages and opportunities, and the places where you've got challenges that you're working through. In this particular chart, the transiting planets are in red on the outer ring of the chart, and your progressed planets are in green on the outer ring of the chart. So what I can tell from this chart is who you are from the moment of your birth, but also what you're experiencing now through transits and through these slower astrological things called progressions, which is kind of, well, it's too complicated to explain. But basically, what I see here is somebody like, Julie, there are things in this chart that basically say you've experienced great loss in your life, but it's a communal kind of loss. It's a social kind of loss. It's a society loss. So like the idea of emigrating from Russia to the United States as a child, and kind of the massive transition and the sense of there's something there that you lost that you can never get back. That exists within your chart.
That's crazy, Lawrence. Like, that's crazy.
Right? There's a really beautiful thing in your chart that basically, how would I put this? So Dana processes her emotions by writing memoir, right? I process my emotions by eating ice cream. Julie processes her emotions by kicking ass and building things that are going to last multiple lifetimes. The way that Julie processes emotion is through achievement. You are born to be a star. And the biggest thing that I want to say to you, this is, above all other years in your life, the most transformational year that you are ever going to experience. Who you are right now will not be the same Julie that you are 1 year from now. Today is the moment that the planet Uranus, and yes, I say it that way because I don't want to say Uranus over and over again. Today is the day that the planet Uranus.
Because you're not my 13-year-old son who go like Beavis or Butthead. He'd be like,
No, totally. Me too. I mean, Dana can vouch. Every time I say it, I have to snicker.
I just want to interject for just 1 second. When I took my sister and her kids to the planetarium in New York City, and we went to the thing, and they were like saying the things about the planets, and they said Uranus, and I burst out laughing like an idiot. And my like 10-year-old niece looked over and she's like, "Why is Aunt Michelle laughing?" And my sister's like, just
I love that.
her.
I would have been like, "Talk to me later, kid. I'm going to tell you all the dirty jokes."
Right. Anyway, sorry. Keep going.
Oh, but Lawrence, I don't want to be somebody I'm not today. This is kind of scary. I kind of like who I am today.
And I think that's actually what's powering this transformation, right? Like, you are finally at a place in your life where you absolutely positively understand who you are at the most atomic level. And that is going to power this transformation. You were born to build something that is literally about communicating with the masses. It's literally about social transformation and built, like, it is impossible for you to you cannot see injustice and not stand up against it. It is constitutionally impossible for you. And this year, so right now today, the planet Uranus is moving into Taurus for the first time. And hang on, actually, I just want to double check and make sure. Sorry, it's leaving Taurus and entering Gemini, right? So it is crossing your ascendant. It is happening today on your birthday. That doesn't happen, Julie. Like, that kind of transit happening at the exact moment of your birthday. It's not just, so Uranus takes 84 years to go around the sun. It's not just a once in every 84 years kind of thing. It doesn't happen to most people in their entire life.
What?
Uranus is the revolutionary, the rebel, the bolt out of the blue, the truth teller, the person who takes communication to the next level and absolutely shines light on the darkness and corruption and evil in the world and makes people do something about it. That is your destiny, and you are manifesting it this year 100%.
Wow. Well, if anybody who's a billionaire happens to be watching, that's the Mayday. So Michelle and I and the rest of this team can build this incredible justice-filled network that we will get out to the masses, Charlie Kirk style, except nicer and not psychotic.
Not racist.
Not racist.
Yeah.
Let us know. We're here. Wow. No, we're not talking about President Julie Roginsky here because she's constitutionally banned.
That is true. Yeah.
Lawrence, thank you. I'm a little scared because I kind of, it's funny. I woke up this morning and I was talking to my husband, who is fantastic, and Michelle knows him in every way. And I was basically saying, like, I actually lack for nothing. Like, I emotionally have, I have in my life what I think most people spend their entire life chasing. Like, I am so fulfilled in my marriage and my son, if he just ever learned how to study, in my friendships, in my parents, as I think people here know, my mom's going through a tough time with her health right now, but still, in my parents, like, I have everything emotionally that I need. And it's almost a little scary because I think when you're not chasing something, you're not striving for something, you're just waiting for the other shoe to drop. And now you're telling the shoe might drop. And so I'm a little scared.
This is not a shoe dropping, Julie. Like, the message I want to leave you with is, this is the year that you finally are truly completely liberated from whatever you've still been performing or hanging on to, that you were probably taught as a very little girl, in Russian society, in Western patriarchal, coming, whatever it is that has still held you back, even the tiniest smidge, you're done. You're letting it go.
Wow.
You're 100% liberated to be the person that you are destined to be.
Love
That
it.
is the kind of transformation that's happening this
Love it.
year.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Wow. Well, we'll check back here next year and we'll see what happens. 25th, 2027. We'll all meet back here. It'll be next year. No, it'll be a Sunday. And so we will see on Saturdays for Sanity on April 24th next year what happened 364 days later, 165 days later.
And I have no doubt that Michelle is going to go pull that clip of you saying just that.
Yep.
And then from the penthouse suite offices of Mayday Network, we'll be saying, we had no idea how auspicious Julie's words would be.
And we'll open one up in Seattle for you guys. And
our West Coast office.
We're gonna have to get you out of Indiana.
Lawrence would happily move for that,
come to New York, Lawrence. What's the
executive job?
You've been here, right?
I know I've said this to you before, and I think you freaked out. I've literally never been to New York City.
Right.
I am a 56-year-old gay man who has never visited New York City.
Okay.
We got to go to Chelsea, Lawrence.
Here's what's going to happen, Lawrence. My BFF is a 55-year-old gay man, and he will take you to.
And my bestie is a 44-year-old gay man. So we have all different places to go.
Amazing.
Places to go, and we will have the best time. So get on a plane. It is what's the nearest airport? Indianapolis? Is that the closest airport to you?
No, Fort Wayne has an airport, an international airport, because
there
there
are
are flights that go to Canada.
or
Does it fly to New York directly though?
It does. Yeah, they're direct to New York.
Oh, nice.
Lawrence, I have a spare bedroom. Get on a plane.
All right.
Oh my
All
gosh,
right.
Lawrence,
I will
if
take
you make
up
it
on
to New York, I will also go to New York because I have not been in decades.
Okay,
And
guys, get on a plane. There's no excuse. Dana, get on a plane. There are definitely flights from Seattle to New York. I know because the last time I flew from Seattle to New York, I got diverted to where did I get diverted, Michelle? Somewhere by where you grew up. Like
Rochester. I was like, go get a garbage plate or not.
I don't know what was going on. There's some sort of storm. We're circling the airport in New York, and they're like, yeah, we can't land. We're going to divert you. And I was like, great. I'll divert us to Boston. I'll spend the night in Boston seeing my friends from college. This will be great. They're like, no, Rochester, New York. I'm like, what the hell is going on right now?
Post-industrial Rochester, New York.
Yeah. So my
graveyard for Kodak,
Yeah. So Dana, if you don't end up in Rochester, New York, on your flight back from Seattle,
I would be down with exploring Rochester. I kind of love those like secret mini add-on vacations. Like a couple summers ago, I took my kids to Europe for the first time, and we had this great trip. We saw Taylor Swift in Munich because it was way cheaper to do that than try to see her here.
Yep,
Which is nuts. And on the flight back, we ended in Amsterdam, and the flight back was Amsterdam to Seattle, and it connected in Dublin, and we missed our flight because the one was late. And so I'd never been to Ireland at that point, neither had they, but we got a bonus day in Dublin. I actually ended up writing about it because they lost our bags, and so we had to go find underwear and like socks just for the flight home. And so that was our mini quest in Dublin. We just took a taxi in and wandered around, and it was one of those wonderful, weird.
I'm dying to go to Ireland. I'm just dying to go.
So beautiful. I loved it there. I want to move.
Funny. I was just talking to my husband about that this morning because he is mostly Irish, but a little part of him is Slovenian. And we all
Melania. Yes.
And I would make fun of him that I come from the land of Tchaikovsky and Dostoevsky. He comes from the land of Melania. So, that's how it is. But and actually, when we were moving, Michelle, and as I think I told people, we're so lazy. We literally found an apartment across the hall from our other apartment because we were too lazy to actually look anywhere else.
Or you're just content with where you are and you like it.
You know what we love? This is a bad reason to buy. Well, maybe not in New York. This makes sense if you're a New Yorker. We literally only wanted to buy in our building because we love our building staff so much. Because in New York, buildings have doormen, which nobody else in the world has. We love our doormen. We just didn't want to leave. They're like family. They're watching my son.
Right. You get to see Lady Gaga in your elevator sometimes. I would not leave either.
I know. So Lady Gaga's dad, who was on the board of the building, was so super helpful. I love Joe. Joe Germanata is my man. Love him. Big Trumper. So we're going to put that aside. But I love Joe Germanata. So, and Cynthia, his wife, is fantastic and is obsessed with my little Hagrid. She loves my dog. So I am all about the Germanatas. But anyway, so I had these movers come to move across the hall, and they still did a shitty job, which I don't understand. But the main guy who was the mover was from Montenegro. And I go, oh, my husband's family's from Slovenia. And because it's all part of the former Yugoslavia. And he's like,
that's why he did a bad job moving you.
Like the phrase Balkanized, we use it like that place is so Well, this really is the Balkans. He's like, Slovenians are the coldest. They're the coldest. They might as well not even be from Yugoslavia. They might as well be German. They're so the war. I was like, oh my God. Okay.
Wow.
Anyway, but mostly he's Irish. And we're talking about how I've been to Ireland. He's never been to Ireland.
Yeah.
Gotta go.
Yeah. Friend trip.
Right. And I was just reading about how there's this huge swelling of Americans with Irish heritage pursuing passports, which my kids and their dad are all 3 Irish citizens.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
You said that.
Yeah, I am not, but they are. But there's apparently Ireland is getting flooded with requests for citizenship so that people have options.
So we looked into it. So my husband can get Irish citizenship because I think his grandfather was born there. And so I think.
The grandparent.
The problem is, because I'm the one who really wants it, he couldn't care less, is that I can't get it through marriage unless, trust me, I still looked into this, unless we live in Ireland together for 5 years. And I love Ireland, but of all the European countries I would move to in a heartbeat, Ireland is not one of them.
It's a little
small.
Yeah.
I know. I loved that about
amazing city. I've only ever been to Dublin, but I've been 6 times.
I want to go to Galway so badly.
Oh,
I went to Galway last year. It's lovely. I really liked it. That was where I was when I had the whole Facebook dating AI trying to set me up with a person who didn't exist and all of that. I was wandering Galway, completely jet lagged because we went there first. And out of my head, which is kind of why I fell for the AI bot being at the beginning, I think, because I was distracted by the beauty of Galway and very jet lagged, but it's so worth going.
Yeah.
maybe I would get tired of being in such a small place, but I loved how contained Ireland was. Like when we first landed in Dublin, we spent the night and then went to the train station. I was expecting like a big European train station, and we get there and I'm like, is this the only train station in Dublin? It's so small. Where are all the international? And I'm like, there are no international trains, Dana. It's an island. And so the train station, the main one, only had like, I think 6 tracks. And they had this is the thing that sticks out the most, is that there was a piano just sitting there, like a public piano, and I think it had paint on it and stuff. And in the 45 minutes we waited, multiple people came up and just started playing piano. And, like Ireland is home to like artists and madmen for sure. It just has that whole vibe in Dublin.
Yeah, I think if you live in New York, you kind of need to move. If you're going to move somewhere, it needs to be something equally kind of boisterous. Like I would move to London tomorrow in a heartbeat. I would move to Paris, I think. I mean, I'd move to Paris because my family's there, but I think
I would have a language barrier, but other than that,
language barrier aside, like I'm thinking about cities that I'd move to. Like I'd move to, well, London is no language barrier. I'd move to Paris. I'd move to Tokyo, like that. Like
I know you love Tokyo.
I love Japan. Like love Japan. You cannot move to Tokyo. I think Tokyo is like impossible to move to unless you're Japanese. But
yeah. I really wish
right now that if you think Ireland is nice, look up Wales.
Right.
It's totally giving. Remember those ads in the 80s that were like, if you like Elizabeth Taylor's White Diamonds,
yeah.
Debbie
you love
Gibson
Elizabeth
Sparkles.
Do you remember her commercial for White Diamonds? Like I've always had luck, or these have always brought me luck, and then she kind of throw it.
Oh my God, that is like deep core memories you're triggering.
You remember those though?
Oh yeah, for sure.
These have always brought me luck.
I first of all, Elizabeth Taylor, what a legend. What a legend. I mean, truly, I mean, I'm obsessed with her in every way possible. All the husbands, all the diamonds, all the eyelashes, because she's got 2 sets of eyelashes, and that's why she looks her eyes. But anyways,
really?
She does, yeah.
Like she naturally had 2?
So that's why her eyes were always so, you know, her eyelashes always looked so amazing. Was that?
Okay.
Also, because they were purple.
Right. Yeah, she had violet eyes.
She was such a beautiful, beautiful woman. And also just like such a good heart during like the AIDS epidemic. She was like, she stood up for the gay community and for people with AIDS in like a way that like a lot of people weren't and didn't have the courage to do. And I just think that she was such a good person. In addition to all that, but I'm seeing the Wales here, and I just have to say, the Welsh, the home of Matthew Rhys.
Michelle is becoming a grade 1 stalker with Matthew Rhys rewatching The Americans. Like,
oh my gosh!
If I were Carrie Russell, I'd start to get a little nervous.
Listen. I stepped foot in Brooklyn.
I get it, Michelle. I'm with you.
He is the most charismatic man that was walking the face. Oh my God.
I've never seen it.
No. I'm going to show you, and you're going to understand.
Just happened to have a video queued up.
I just happened to, well, it was on my phone. I was like, you know what? Let me see the way.
It was on my phone because I was staring at it like this, being like,
maybe just as I was going to sleep. Oh, look at him. Anyways,
my name is Matthew Rhys.
Wait, what?
Sorry.
Sorry.
I'm right here.
Okay, hold on. There we go.
My name is Matthew Rhys, and some of you might have thought that I am indeed American. Others might have thought that I was indeed Russian. For all of you to know, I'm neither. I am indeed Welsh. Dwi'n Gymro Cymraeg. Now, we here in Wales have heard you're celebrating a rather large birthday, and enormous congratulations on your 250th. However, I do believe that some of this celebration rests squarely on our shoulders, the Welsh. Gadewch mi ddweud wrthoch chi pam. Let me tell you why. Where to begin? Some say that the United States was discovered by a Welshman, Madoc, way before Columbus. Frank Lloyd Wright, one of your greatest architects. Griffith Jenkins Griffith, one of the true pioneers of Los Angeles. Camp David, named after our patron saint. The liquor you drink, Jack Daniels. Let's talk about your Declaration of Independence and how many indeed signed it with Welsh heritage. Francis Lewis, instrumental in the revolution. Sam Adams, Thomas Jefferson. So, you owe us, America. Yes, we'll help you celebrate your 250 years, but you should really help us.
Noble brothers and sisters, do the little things which you have heard from me and which I have shown you.
Celebrate our patron saint's day
On March the 1st.
St. David's. So you're probably wondering how. Let me tell you. Gwnewch y pethau bychan. Do the little things as he told us to do. Wear a leek. Eat a leek. Wear a daffodil. Eat a Welsh cake. Share a cwtch. Cuddle. Celebrate St. David's. Have a very great St. David's. A dydd Gwyl Dewi hapus iawn.
Indeed, to goodness, it's been a very good St. David's Day today. Da bochi.
I mean,
Yeah, seriously.
Did he just say share a cuddle?
Yeah.
probably. Yeah.
I volunteer as tribute.
Yeah.
He
But
speaks fluent Welsh, and he taught it to his kid.
Michelle, you know how I'm one of those really annoying people who has to say something when it's historically inaccurate?
Oh boy,
Yes.
here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
I'm telling you, it was in her chart, right? She's constitutionally incapable of not correcting the record.
David was named after David. Eisenhower wasn't named after St. David.
Well, maybe he's saying that the origins of the word David is
That's
from
it.
Saint David.
All right, I'll shut up now. Matthew Reese is indeed much hotter when he speaks with a Welsh accent than when he speaks with a American accent.
Yeah.
This is what I'm
How is
saying.
his Russian?
His Russian is terrible.
Yeah.
Really bad. They usually dub it on the
Yeah.
show.
No, the first time it wasn't dubbed. Like the last episode we watched,
Yeah.
it was not dubbed. It was terrible.
Well, in next week's episode 7, definitely dubbed because it's a flashback to his, original love back in.
I'm sorry. Then that's the one because I watched ahead.
Yeah.
Not dubbed and terrible. It's not dubbed.
Yeah, it's not
No,
good.
it's not dubbed. It's terrible.
Mm.
But yeah.
Julie, did you watch Stranger Things? Speaking of
My
Russian,
son wants to watch it. Is it good?
it is worth watching, but there is a subplot that goes off into Russia, and there's a character who is American and kind of comedic relief and a helper, and he out of nowhere speaks Russian.
Okay.
But I looked him up, and he is not a Russian speaker, so I suspect his Russian is quite poor, but I have no way of knowing. So I was going to ask you if Murray's Russian was legit or not.
I only watched 1 or 2 episodes of the hockey show that Michelle told me to watch until my husband's like, turn this off. What's it called, Michelle?
Heated Rivalry?
Greatest show on television right now.
Yeah. My husband was like, no, thank you. He's like, I thought this was a hockey movie. I was like, well, that's how I saw
It is a hockey show.
It is.
It's
also
with a beautiful love
a gay
story.
love affair.
Yeah.
Sexy hockey show.
I'm gonna have to just watch it when he's not around. But
Right. I'm trying to think of like pucks in nets kind of, hockey stick puns, but I'm
but the guy who's
shots on goal.
The guy open net. The guy who is
He shoots, he scores. Sorry, keep going.
Right. The guy who's Russian on that show, supposed to be Russian, his Russian is fantastic.
Oh my gosh.
Fantastic.
I've heard that's not the only thing that's fantastic.
I mean, he is adorable. Like that, I don't remember that guy's name.
Obsessed with him. That's Connor Story.
Yeah.
He is. I just need to talk about him for a second. I legitimately, I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Connor Story is one of those people who I'm so glad that this show happened to him and someone plucked him from obscurity for this like low budget show in Canada. That's one of the most beautiful love stories I think told in many years. He is a chameleon. He can do anything. He linguistically can absorb and understand and regurgitate like any language. He speaks fluent French just because he just likes it. French people, like again, didn't realize that he wasn't French. His Russian is outrageous. I mean, he said that when they shot some of the show in Russia, and he said that some of the background actors thought he was Russian. And he's like, no. He's like, I'm not Russian. He's like, I literally just memorized the words on the page. I don't know any other Russian. And I just think
so. He's transliterating, and he's speaking Russian that he can't understand.
There's got to be like a perfect pitch thing going on there, right? Where he can just get the intonation.
Wow.
And it's just he's a sponge, and he's just I think, I mean, and listen, Hudson Williams, who's the other actor, I think is going to have a wonderful career. And I think he is extremely talented too. But Connor's story is on another level. Like he's on an Anthony Hopkins, like sort of track, I think, in that he's going to have an Oscar in his hand within the decade. Like I just incredible. And I've heard he's also just a very hardworking actor and very, very nice. So, and
the American.
He's from Texas. Yeah, he's American.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Hudson.
Michelle, you're also going to cut this when he's nominated for an Academy Award.
Right.
And you're going to be like, I told you on Julie's birthday, 2026.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things happening today that we're going to be looking forward to in a couple of years.
Yeah. Yeah. He also, he started a YouTube channel when he was like 10 or 11 years old, because obviously he's in his early 20s. So, I mean, for him, it wasn't long ago.
Right.
So, and he's got this little Bieber haircut and he's like, hi, everybody. I just wanted to make this first YouTube video. My name is Connor. And it's like the sweetest thing in the whole world. And he's like, I want to be an actor. And
he's gay in real life.
Yeah. Hudson is not, but he is.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
And he's just, listen, at the gay clubs in New York, there's like these videos of Connor Story, like doing gymnastics in his backyard to Madonna. And like, they play it on the biggest screens of him.
You have to come here, Lawrence.
Honestly,
so
I was just, Michelle,
You're selling
clearly we're going to hang out and just like cruise guys together, right?
Yes.
I mean, like, don't tell your husband. We're going to totally be like, what about him? What do you think?
Yeah, trust me. I mean, I'm a good wingman in that
I'm
sense.
a great wingman in gay clubs.
All right.
Yep.
We're going to go to New York. I'm going to have the 3 hottest wing ladies I can possibly have going to the gay clubs.
Oh my God. Y'all, this sounds so fun.
Gym bar, right? The fella's not the gay club, like I think it's Gym Bar. It used to be Splash. There used to be a place called Splash.
Splash. Yeah, I know Splash.
Splash
They
shut
would
down.
have, musical Mondays. Oh, so good.
No, Splash shut down.
Ooh.
Splash used to have these guys in diapers dancing on poles, pretending to be like Eros. Like,
Did you ever go to Fairy Tales
No.
in Hell's Kitchen? Maybe like, because I know I'm a little younger than you, but Fairy Tales was on like 10th Avenue and 49th or something like that.
I know there's Gym Bar in Hell's Kitchen, which everybody goes to. Which is
I know Gym Bar, but Fairy Tales, all the guys were dressed as fairy tale characters, like slutty Peter Pan, slutty Tinkerbell, slutty Cinderella, all dancing on the bar. It was always the last stop. My friend Craig and I, on his way back to his apartment,
only in New York, because you have a bar so specifically themed.
So neat. I know. It's so great. It's so great.
And then there used to be a lesbian club. When I used to live in Greenwich Village, they're still there. There used to be a lesbian bar down the street from my house. And I would go there with my lesbian friends. Nobody would ever hit on me, which was a little insulting. But
same, Julie.
Yeah. Like I've never been like, I don't know what it is. Women never hit on me in lesbian.
I just read straight.
They just have really good gaydar, right? They're just like, oh, she's completely straight.
It happened to me a couple times. Like a woman came up and like touched my elbow and like gave me an eye, and I was like, "What?" I didn't know what that was, but apparently that's like,
no, I love going there because they had a great juke. I haven't been there in a decade or so, but they had a great jukebox. So I would always sit there and have a drink and watch my friends meet other women, and nobody would ever talk to me, and it was a little sad, but I loved it.
Yeah.
And it's called the Cubby Hole for anybody who knows.
Oh, I've heard of the Cubby Hole. Yeah.
Right down the street.
I've heard of the Cubby Hole.
Yeah, the Cubby Hole.
That's a cute name. The Cubby Hole.
There's a Cubby Hole, and there's another one down the street called Henrietta Hudson.
Fun.
Yeah.
So fun. I always just feel safe in gay and lesbian bars. I just feel safer. You know what I mean?
I read a study that the most well-adjusted people are children who grew up and raised by 2 women in lesbian households.
This is a working theory of mine, Julie, because my college boyfriend, who I was with for years, and my daughter's high school boyfriend, both raised by 2 women, 3 in her boyfriend's case, 3 women. The best men are like date men who are raised by lesbians.
Yeah.
The best men.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I believe it.
It's pretty niche. So if you're already looking to scarcity, like that's a pretty high bar. But if you can find them, the best men.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. Mm-hmm. Love it. What else, you guys? What else is going on? I'm very bummed about Substack today, but it is what it is.
You know, the White House Correspondents' Dinner is
Oh,
tonight.
let's talk, guys. Let's
you
talk.
know, the thing that makes me crazy, I mean, many things make me crazy, but do you remember when Michelle, what was her name? The comedian Michelle.
Oh my God, I follow her.
Oh my God, yes, Wolf.
Michelle Wolf.
Maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's lies.
Right. Honestly, that was like peak White House Correspondents' Dinner, and she was so good that it like shut it down. Like they have not invited many comedians since. Like they
had like Ron Chernow the next year, and I'm like, ooh. I mean, he's great and everything, but like you know, low stakes.
Tonight it's a mentalist, whatever that is.
What does that mean?
I don't know. It's like a magician or something.
Like
I don't know.
stage hypnotism. I don't know. Yeah.
You guys, I in my Fox, speaking of Fox, in my Fox days would get invited to this thing and I never went. And I am offended mortally by this entire thing. I always have been. And it is because it is the definition of incestuous bullshit. Like everybody shows up. TV is the most backbiting. Like I worked in politics, I worked in television. Television's worse. Like it is the most backbiting, awful medium. The reason I love Substack so much and love YouTube so much is that you're not competing against each other in the sense that we're not, you know, like you can go back and watch. But if you're on Fox, for instance, that means you're somebody has to watch you as opposed to watching MS or CNN. Right. Therefore, like, you know, whereas like the beautiful thing about what we do is you could watch us now, you could watch us later, you could watch us never, like it doesn't matter. Yeah. But it like everybody shows up, everybody gives each other the one eye, everybody does the air kisses, everybody trashes each other behind their backs. And what we were talking about with Jeff Jarvis yesterday on our media show, which airs 11 a.m. Eastern every Friday, is breaking news.
Right after the Daily Whatever Show.
Sorry, right after the Daily Whatever Show. When you're done watching the Daily Whatever Show, flip over to Mayday for breaking news. We're talking about the fact that the only thing that I want to see this year is I want a camera trained on the CB. I want camera trained on Barry Weiss at CBS. See two things. One, who from CNN is making a beeline over there to kiss her ass now that basically it sounds like Paramount, Skydance Paramount's taking over CNN. Yep. Who's selling out to this Trumpist bullshit. Yep. I have my suspicions as to who those people will be. That's one. And two, Jeff came up with this idea because Pete Hegseth is sitting at Barry Weiss's table to see what's in his cup, what he's drinking. Is he drinking alcohol? Is he not drinking alcohol? Because he said he wasn't going to take a drop since he.
Please.
Yeah.
Please. There's a time where he did a press conference when was it? I don't remember. It went viral a couple months ago. It might have been longer than that. But he's doing like some liquor sips. Like I'm not gonna lie.
Right.
He's taking it from behind and just going like the tiniest sips. And it looks like it could be water. But as we know, if we roll the tape, he said that he's a gin guy. I'm a gin guy. I'm just saying, I think that, you know, and I don't mean to make jokes about alcoholism and addiction, right? But alcoholics don't just stop.
You can't just wake up and stop.
Every day is a battle from the minute you get up to the minute you go to sleep.
Yeah. And it takes immense, I mean, this is not my lived experience, so I may be out of line here, but I think some people can, but it takes immense self-discipline that we have not seen demonstrated from this man.
Correct.
In any way.
I have had several friends who've gone through addiction, including alcoholism. And one is you really do have to go to rehab. Like you have to just go somewhere where there's no alcohol available.
For like 90 days too. It's like I know 90 days is like
so that's one. And the other that I think is really important is, and people in the chat who've gone through this, let me know, is you can't be under pressure when you do this. Like that's why rehab is good, because they take away your phone, they take away you can't have a billion, like what is more pressurized than going through confirmation hearings and then going to be the Secretary of Defense? Like it is a deeply pressurized job, especially where he's fighting with everybody in the Pentagon. So I don't believe it for a second. I think he continues to drink. Everybody here I think knows I know Pete, and so I can tell you that he is not somebody known for discipline. He's never been good at anything he's ever done in his life, and it's deeply problematic for him to be in this position. And I don't believe for one second that he's not drinking. And I'd love to see what's happening tonight. Drinking at this event, because this is for people who are professional, you don't get wasted at these kinds of events. It's basically a work event. You won't go get wasted. If you have, but alcohol is, they do come around and they do pour the wine and they do, it's a chicken dinner.
It's not the Webbies, you know what I mean?
Right.
I forgot, Michelle, the Webbies, was there free alcohol or did we have to go buy it? No, it was free.
No, it was free and it was top shelf.
And that's right. That the Bellini
Acosta was like shots, and I was like,
oh my God, that's true. The Webbies last year, Michelle and I just did, I don't know how many rounds of tequila shots of the Costa. It was great. We just,
oh my God,
bellied up, and I don't even drink that much. We bellied up to the bar and just started pounding shots after having, because people know Cipriani, which started out in Venice, but there's a few outposts in New York, is known for their Bellinis. And so, first we got the Bellinis, and then we started pounding tequila, and then I ended up going home. God only knows what happened the rest of the night. Michelle can tell us.
Listen, at the after party, there was like this pole thing, like just in the middle of the room, and I started like swinging around it like, my friend Anna looked at me and she goes, oh, I haven't seen Michelle like this in a while.
It seems like
she didn't stop you, right? Like a real friend would have been like, oh no, honey, you're not doing that right now.
No. She's like, no, I'm enjoying this.
No, it's not because Mayday won in Webby. It is Seneca Project and Michelle Kinney who won that Webby. And it was for a wonderful, brilliant, best political ad I've ever seen called American Girl. That is all the time. Because
Michelle, do you have that one handy to pull up and play?
I certainly can. Give me a moment.
I think we should show it. I didn't realize you'd won a Webby for it.
Is it?
When are
the one where the car gets pulled over?
No, but I do know. So that was Lincoln Project. Well, I'll tell you what. Midas Touch put that out in 2021 after the Texas snitch law, right?
Yeah.
The bounty hunter thing. Lincoln Project made that ad in 2020 with a guy named John Turtletub, who's a director and writer. And they, at that time, they were just like pumping out so many ads, and they would give them to people because they're like, And at the time they said, this is so far-fetched that we don't think that we can do anything with this. And so they gave it to Midas. Midas put it out. And it didn't go far enough. It didn't go far enough.
Right.
And somebody in the chat who's saying, ew, Lincoln Project, far-right Republican dirtbags. I worked there for 4 years. I am not a Republican dirtbag. I am a New York City liberal who worked there with a lot of other liberals and former Republicans. And while not every moment that I had there was a positive one, I'll just be very upfront about that. I am extremely proud of the work that I did there. And I learned so much that now I can be a political consultant on my own, making ads for congressional campaigns and other places. So anyways, I just want to set the record straight on that.
Yes.
So
boom, drop.
Yeah, they've done some really good work. I mean, I've had some jaw drop moments watching content.
I mean, listen, they're very, very, very good at what they do. And I will, for whatever happened there on my way out, I will always be grateful for the skills that I acquired. And I'm finding American Girl right here. Hold on a second. But yeah, we had a table. We luckily, because of our friend Marcus Flowers, if you know him, Hold the Line. He ran for Congress in Georgia against Marjorie Taylor Greene. He's a wonderful man. He and his PAC were very, very generous in coming with us, not only to the Webbies, but paying for a table for us to go. And it was like, we wouldn't have been able to do it otherwise because it was so expensive. And we had an extra seat because somebody couldn't come. And so we were like, Julie, come. So Julie came with, and it was really awesome. So,
oh my God. You know what? After we watch this, I want to hear the origin story of your friendship. I was thinking about that as I was getting ready this morning. Like, I don't know how Julie and Michelle found one another.
Well,
Lincoln Project.
Yeah. That's an offline story.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. We will.
Yep. But it's a nice story.
This will be for when Lawrence and I come to New York.
Yes.
And
This
we're cocktails.
When we're pounding shots at a gay bar with Lawrence.
Exactly.
Perfect.
Let me share screen here. Share screen. I'm gonna just give a little background here on this ad that I am so very proud of. When Tara Setmeyer and I were thinking about doing the Seneca Project, and we named it after Seneca Falls, New York, which is the birthplace of the women's rights movement. I was at an event at the Edison Ballroom in New York City. My friend Sarah, who you met at the Jack Schlossberg thing the other day, Julie. My friend Sarah and Eric invited me to come sit at their table. Very, very lovely. And it was a thing for theater. And they had some Broadway performers getting up and singing. And there's a woman named Laura Bell Bundy, who is a Broadway actress, and she's just wonderful, got up and sang one of her original songs. And I'd never heard it before. And she starts singing, and I'm like, I have chills. And the lyrics go, and and my heart beats true for the red, white, and blue. Tell me, girls, what are we gonna do? And I'm sitting there and like tears coming down my eyes. And I'm texting Tara under the table, and I'm like, this is it. This is the ad. This is the ad. Now, money is always short, and these things cost money. And we knew that it wasn't going to be our launch ad, but we had to do it for the election at some point. And we got right down to the end, and we're like, we don't know that we can make this. We can't afford it, blah, blah, blah. My friends who run a production company and are wonderful editors and very good friends, Anna, the one who said, I haven't seen Michelle like this in a while. It's her and her husband, and they were making all of our ads with us. And they said, we'll do it for free. And I was like, wow. So this really was a label of Laura Bell Bundy sat on our advisory board. She and her other co-writers really, in a lot of ways, gifted this song to us. It's the best thing I've ever done. And I'm going to try not to cry. Okay. Okay. Ready, guys?
Yep. I'm ready.
Okay.
Women's suffrage is a long story of hard work and heartache crowned by victory.
Was it so hard being an American girl?
Women throughout the country are committed to winning these rights for themselves.
Was it so hard living in a first problem world?
I'm Connie Chung, CBS News, New York.
When the American promise is the land of the free, but I'm waiting for the bill for the air that I breathe. Was it so hard being an American?
I do. I pray that we all remember our children are watching.
Every heart beats true for the red, white, and blue. Tell me, girls, what are we gonna do? Every heart beats true for the red, white, and blue. Tell me, girls, what are we gonna do? Every heart beats true for the red, white, and American girl. What are we gonna do?
While I may be the first woman in this office, I will not be the last.
Every heart beats true for the red, white, and blue. Tell me, girls, what are we gonna do?
You guys, Michelle Kinney is the most talented person we know.
Oh my God.
I know. I'm like, oh, I've seen that 1,000 times, and it's still,
Wow.
I haven't seen it in a while. So that's the one.
I got all teary too. And then maybe this is fitting. I got distracted because I muted myself so I could say goodbye to my daughter who's leaving to take her practice AP World History exam.
Oh, good luck.
And I was like, it's tough being an American girl.
Especially if you take the APs, which are tough.
I know. This one's just the practice test too, but like my kid's getting out the door on a Saturday morning to go do that.
Yeah.
These American girls, man, they coming of age now.
Tough.
They've got their work cut out for them.
Well, Michelle won a Webby for that one. Seneca won a Webby for that one.
Yeah,
But
so proud of
totally
you.
iconic.
Michelle, I mean, I have done campaigns for a really long time, and that is by far the best ad ever that I've seen. And I said that before I ever knew Michelle. It is just amazing, and we're so grateful.
Thank you. And it was really important to me that I put that picture of Gretchen Carlson in there. And this is, again, before I knew Julie. There's a picture of Gretchen Carlson with Joe Biden signing the legislation that Julie helped to get passed to protect women in the workplace. And every single frame was very carefully chosen.
Oh, you
every clip.
Clearly.
I wanted Connie Chung in there. Like, she was my hero as a kid. She saw it. She sent us a message. I'm super
Spielberg saw it, right, Michelle? Didn't Spielberg see it and he loved it?
So here's the story. So, again, this was like last ditch effort, week before the campaign. I think we released it on a Wednesday or Tuesday. It was Thursday before the election, and all of a sudden my phone starts blowing up. Everybody is sharing this ad. Ellen DeGeneres, Julia Roberts, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, all these people. I mean, I'm like, what is going on? Like, holy shit. And we just start hearing from everybody. Like a bajillion hits everywhere, right? It would have been nice if some of these celebrities had reposted it with our tag on it, but it is fine, whatever. But that wasn't the point, right? The point was to get the message out. And we get this email on Friday from somebody saying, I'm trying to get a hold of somebody at the Seneca Project. I'm a legit person, I promise. She gave us her name, and she was like, please write us. I wrote her back, and she works at Amblin. She had been at Amblin for decades. I knew who she was immediately. And she was like, we've spent the whole day, she was like, basically me and Steven Spielberg have spent the day sending this to everyone we know. Wow. And including the Obamas and Oprah. And she said, and Harpo Productions and Oprah is going to reach out to you. They want to play this on Monday night at Kamala Harris's Philadelphia rally. And I was beside myself. And we find out how Steven Spielberg got his hands on it is because over the summer we had done this Zoom with a bunch of Hollywood people, and one of them was Steve Martin's wife. And so she followed us and stuff, and I forget her name, and I'm so sorry that I don't remember her name offhand, but she obviously gave it to her husband, and oh my God, look at this. They are besties with Steven Spielberg and his wife, and that's how it all got out there.
And Stringfield.
Right. And Oprah wanted very badly to introduce Kamala Harris in Philadelphia with this ad, but as internal politics on campaigns go, it didn't end up happening because will.i.am had some song and he was a donor and whatever else. So they played his thing, and so it didn't end up happening. But Tara and I did go to Philadelphia anyways, and we sat very close and got to experience the whole event. And it was really, it's just like it's like lightning in a bottle. I don't know if I'll ever have something like that happen to me again, but
yes, you will, because you are so talented. And for anybody who one of the, Michelle and I talked about this the other day, the difficulty of what we're trying to do with Mayday, and you guys know this because you have the exact same thing with your daily, whatever show that you're doing every day, is when you're trying to produce something and be in air and do clips, which Michelle, I just show up and talk, right? Michelle does all the clips. Michelle is like production maven here. I am completely talentless, and Michelle has taught herself how to do this. And if I were not such an asshole, I'd teach myself how to do it. But the point is that what that does is takes away from time that Michelle would have to create stuff like this. And I know, Michelle, because you're so creative, how bottled up in you all of this is, and how many great ideas you have, and how if you had 36 hours in a day, not 24 hours in a day, that you would be creating more of this content. And it's a loss, I think, to the world that you're not doing that right now, which is we're working on getting a few interns for the summer to help us with clips and stuff. And again, you guys, this, like we're all chasing the same dollars, but I mean, God, if we just had the funding to to do this, Michelle could focus on somebody mentioned the Mr. Rogers video in the chat. Like Michelle did this Mr. Rogers video that was equally brilliant. And you did one for baseball season that was equally brilliant. And they're all like, you watch this and your heart starts to swell and you start crying.
Absolutely moved me to tears. I was just saying yesterday to somebody that like, kind of that, if I was a billionaire, I wouldn't be actually, because I literally said, I was like, the Mayday Network would be funded, the Daily Whatever Show would be funded, Blue Ant Media would be funded, right? Like all of the people, all of the content creators on Substack and YouTube that I love would have unlimited budgets to go fucking change the world. And I
gotta tell you, to all of these Democratic donors who send money to individual campaigns and super PACs, because that's really where the big money is, like it is important. And God knows I've run super PACs and I've begged people for, hundreds of thousands of dollars and I've gotten it and it's important. But this is kind of like teach a man, what is that? Like you give a man a fish, he'll,
eat it for a day.
Teach a man for life,
leave forever. Same kind of thing. Like you elect one person and it's I'm not suggesting it's not important, but if you do what the Republicans have done and you fund this massive ecosystem that then becomes self-sustainable. And I keep going back to Charlie Kirk, right? He got $100,000 from a billionaire in Foster Freeze, and he took that $100,000 and he's turned that into a multi-billion. Well, he's not around anymore, but his Turning Point USA is basically a $1 billion enterprise that has changed the hearts and minds of young people all across the country.
Yep.
And he built an empire.
He built an empire, and so did Ben Shapiro. And my hat is off to them. I disagree with them on everything, but that is how you build an ecosystem that outlasts any individual candidate and lasts for generations. And Democrats do not know how to do that. And
they don't get it. And they don't respect that idea either. That's the other problem.
Yeah.
And I say this and we're back to the White House Correspondents' Dinner here for a second. I'm looking at all the pictures. I'm seeing my feed. I'm seeing all the creator space and everybody's there and everybody's taking their pictures in front of the step and repeats and whatever. And like, I hope you're all having a great time. Couldn't pay me really to be there. Maybe a couple years ago I would have killed to be there, but now I'm just kind of like, nope, that looks shitty and I don't want to be there. But like Democrats still are not taking it seriously. They do not take the creator space seriously. Right. They still want to get booked on Meet the Press and think that that is more valuable to them and their campaign and to the mission and the movement than getting on a podcast that has 10 million downloads a week or whatever. I don't even know if that's a metric that exists, but they still are in the past refusing to respect or take it seriously. And for that reason, we are losing. That's one of the reasons we're losing is they just refuse to evolve. And this is part of that gerontocracy mindset. Not only it's part of the representative, human beings that are representing us in the Senate and the House and whatnot, but it's also being reflected in our communication space and our refusal to evolve as communicators. And listen, I mean, as a creator in my own right, and as a I guess strategist now is like what I'm doing, I guess, but it's very frustrating. I mean, I have my own way of doing things. It's like, well, if it moves me, if it makes me think and it looks different to me, I think it'll look different for somebody else. But again, like they just don't listen. Julie is one of those people in this space who gets it. And this is why people hire her. And because she understands, we need something new. We need something different.
I mean,
and Julie, back to your birthday chart, literally, it is baked into your chart that you are the person that is going to make this happen. Like, it is your destiny, my friend.
Well, Michelle, cha-ching. I can't wait. Great. I mean, listen, I have said from day one when Michelle and I launched this thing, all we need is a few bucks, and we'll be off to the races. And I think the same thing applies to you guys. Like, Lauren, you helped us 6 months ago try to get somebody to invest, which was so incredibly generous of you. And the reality is, like, that person didn't do it, but it is, you know, if I were to call that person and say, hey, I'm running a super PAC for a congressional candidate and I need $100,000, he'd write the check.
Mhm.
And what
that makes sense to him.
That makes sense to him. And I think and he's a wonderful person, but I think the misunderstanding is that you elect this person and then this person loses, or this person doesn't lose. But the point is, it's just one person. Here you're creating an entire ecosystem that will help elect 435 of these people.
Well, and it's not like we don't have the proof, right? The Republicans have been doing this for years.
Doing this
Like
for
the RCCC, the RSCC, they give money to creator networks on the right wing so that their candidates, their fringiest candidates, have a place that they can go.
They throw money at it.
Yes, and moving that Overton window to more and more outrageous places, so that the legislation that becomes the middle ground is what was once like pretty far right ideology. I'm so with you on this of like sorry, this is a gendered statement, but he who moves the culture forward, he who owns the storytelling wins the politics. That's just
Andrew Breitbart said this, and again, look, there's a lot to be learned. I don't discount them just because they're crazy right wingers, because there's a lot to be learned from these people. Andrew Breitbart, who's also dead, said something that I think is really relevant. He said politics is downstream of culture, and I've always treated culture as downstream of politics. And I will tell you, Gretchen Carlson and I in our nonprofit world always say this. We have changed we passed the only 2 Me Too laws of this movement, right? And that's really hard to do in the most hyper-partisan time in our lives, right? And yet we were able to get 2 major laws with respect to sexual misconduct through Congress, which is astonishing when you think about it. However, and I'm not saying that to pat myself on the back, it's to make a larger point. We always say that it is much easier to change laws, despite how hard it is, than it is to change culture. And I can tell you not to sexually harass somebody, and I can tell you it's against the law, but the reality is it still happens because it's part of our culture.
Yep.
And, that's just the fundamental aspect of how we live. And
marriage equality could not have happened had it not been for Will and Grace.
Thank you. Exactly
People
right.
would not have started doing designated drivers more frequently and more regularly and in a normalized way had it not been for Cheers talking about it and writing it into their scripts.
Yep.
Until it's baked into the culture, it's not normalized. People can't connect.
Yeah, exactly.
It's an abstract, thing. And anyway.
Yeah, exactly right. And I think that's part of the problem. The problem is that we are very much all about changing laws by electing legislators who are going to change those laws, and that's fine. But we're not about changing culture. We're not about making things acceptable. And like, I think about the Cosby Show for those of us who, the Gen Xers on the show, right? Like
Cosby Show.
But Cosby Show, I mean, forget Bill Cosby's horrible personal trajectory. But think about the show, right? Before the Cosby Show, you had Good Times, and you had, all these other shows in the 70s that were wonderful, but
Norman Lear.
Maybe the Jeffersons were actually even before the Cosby Show, but even the Jeffersons had this poor Black couple somehow, getting rich because, he sold a bunch of dry cleaners or however George Jefferson got rich and, moved on up to the East Side to a deluxe apartment in the sky, but he still came from nothing. Here, the Cosby Show, you had a doctor and a lawyer, who were highly educated and who were as educated, if not more educated, than the white people who were on these shows at the same time, right? More educated than Ted Danson's character in Cheers, more educated than I forgot who else was, Family Ties or whoever. And it changed the culture to show that Black people were not just people who were working in a garage, or, working some menial job, but also were able to be, anything they wanted to be. And that was such a cultural shift that there's no amount of legislation that you could pass that would change that in people's minds the way that Bill Cosby did.
Yep.
And
that's why storytelling is so important. The work you're doing, Michelle, that one video that we just watched, like that moves more hearts and minds, right? Than,
Tara and I had a meeting with a bunch of women. Now I've just, to be totally transparent, I've stepped down from the Seneca projects to focus on this. But before I left, this was sometime last year, we had some Zoom with like a bunch of women and, who work for the State Department and and we played American Girl, and I looked at their faces, and there was this one young woman, I can't remember her name. I say young, she's probably 35. And I looked at her and she had her hand like this on her face and she was sobbing. And it still gets me, like seeing her. And she was like, I remember this. She's like, I remember this ad. This is the most important thing. And she just was like, couldn't breathe. She was crying so hard.
But that's
and I just want to say this quickly, and because this is not about me, but a little bit is, but I say this as a woman who, tried to change careers and changed careers later in life. And I'm always people doing at any point in their life, it's never too late. And I did. And I worked harder. And my whole thing has always been, I will work harder than everyone around me. I might not be as talented. I might not be as smart as the people around me, but I will work harder and I will show up and I will be there more than anybody else. Because when the door opens, I want to be there and I want to be able to walk in. And that's what I did for 4 years. And listen, there were people who spent a lot of time and resources and capital trying to make sure that I didn't believe in myself and that the other people around me did not believe in me because I was just a paper shuffler. And I just, I just checked boxes and I just, made the trains run. And, Michelle's great and all, but she's not a creative director. I mean, come on, this isn't an agency. A lot of white men spent a lot of time making sure that they would discredit me. And for that, and that's why the work that I did at the Seneca Project, I will be more proud of than anything in my entire life, because I won't say it because I don't say the F word on the show because my parents watch it, but it's but there's a whole lot of people that I will be very patient, and that the day will come that I will be able to shove this in their faces and say, screw you, you had it wrong. And I'm going to be the one who's on top at the end.
Well, because that day's already come, because that American Girl ad is you. And I don't think you need to prove anything to anybody anymore. Like it's
I feel good now. I'm like, okay, I can do this. I can do this. And I don't need the validation from some old white guy who, is going to tell me that, you don't belong here.
I have to plug my computer in for some reason.
I'm plugging my phone in. Same. I actually don't know the answer to this, but does the Mayday Network have plans to make use of this talent of yours, Michelle? Because you are amazing at producing these shows. You and Julie are fabulous on air, and that's helping to move the world forward. But what about your specific talent around storytelling? From short form video.
It's I've made some rapid response stuff like the Shohei Ohtani thing. So Shohei Ohtani during the playoffs last season, I think it was like game 5, right? Of that particular, I can't remember. What is the Dodgers in? What are they in? Whatever that league is.
You're asking the wrong person.
Yeah, whatever the league is.
Me and sports ball don't know.
What are you talking about?
What?
National League, American League?
I can't remember. It's the Dodgers are in which one? I don't remember.
They're in the National League.
Okay. So it was like game 5, and he hit home run after home run after, and he pitched. And it was there. They were saying it was the greatest game ever played. And the thing about it is that Shohei Ohtani's not American. He is from Japan. And he worked his whole life knowing that he wanted to come to America to play this game that he loved. And it was a bigger story than just the greatest game ever played. It was a story about how a young Japanese man, an immigrant, came to the United States to play this game that is our American pastime.
Right.
And this was at a time, and this was at a time when ICE was ramping up and all this stuff was getting worse. And it was like, we have to look at things through that lens, because the American dream does not have a birth certificate. It has a heartbeat. And that is who we are. That is who we are. And so I made that. And that's one of our biggest performing videos that we've ever put out at Mayday. And I was like, because these are just the things.
Such a good ad.
Thank you. Well, it's just like those are the things. So listen, and if I had more time, we had resources to hire people to produce our shows and to make clips and things like that. But to Julie's point, like that's what I would do. I mean, I have a bigger plan here of Mayday films. I want to make Mayday films. I want to be able to fund independent films, and the future is YouTube. And it just is. I mean, I don't know if anybody here watches Somebody Feed Phil on Netflix with Phil Rosenthal, who is the creator of Everybody Loves Raymond and stuff. Good friends with Norman Lear, to bring it full circle. And his show that's been on Netflix for 8 seasons or whatever is moving to YouTube next year.
Yeah.
That is where everybody's going.
Well, do you guys want to hear a crazy story about
Always
films? So Gretchen Carlson and I, back in 2020, so it's been 6 years, were approached to do a documentary about our work. And I want to be clear again, very high profile cases with respect to Fox News, both, she and I, her even more than I have. We have had movies made about our stories that we could not participate in because we have NDAs. Nicole Kidman has played her in a major motion picture movie. I had a woman named Anna O'Reilly play me, who's Irish and has red hair, which is an interesting choice. But nevertheless, she's had, she's had Naomi Watts play her in the miniseries, which, by the way, if you haven't seen that miniseries on Showtime, called The Loudest Voice, it is fantastic, and I highly recommend.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
I'm not going to say anything about the bombshell because it's. Watch The Loudest Voice if you want to know what happened.
I'm going to say is Megyn Kelly did not have an NDA, and Julie and Gretchen did. So
so that's how The Loudest Voice ended up. Yeah. No, that's how Bombshell ended up the way it was. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So the point is, like, high profile stories, high profile movies and TV shows made about our story. We have never been able to speak. We have passed legislation. There is a very good documentary to be made about our story. Right. And there's a lot of interest in this documentary. And it's about our quest to get rid of NDAs for toxic workplace issues, forced arbitration for toxic workplace issues. And these pitches got to the very tippy top of all the major streamers. And they were dinged. And why were they dinged? Because they all use NDAs. They were like, we can't. And so I'm saying to you that there are stories, and this is just one example, there are stories to be told on places like YouTube through what Michelle's talking about, Mayday Films or whoever. It could be, whatever, Blue Amp Media Films. It doesn't matter who, but there are stories to be told when people are not afraid to tell them, that are not told by corporate America, but told by people who actually believe in storytelling, that are really important to be made. And again, I think we're going through this zeitgeist in the culture where that is starting to happen. Whoever ends up, getting the funding to do this kind of stuff. Yeah. But the reality is the Republicans already do. Right?
Oops, sorry. My bad. I didn't know that sound was on. My bad.
Right already has it. And, you've got Midas and you've got a bunch of these other very well-funded places, but they're all very political. And I think that there is not enough emphasis on how, again, politics is downstream of culture and how you have to do cultural stuff in order to bring people in who might not otherwise listen to you. And that's why we're doing the American Rewatch, because I don't care what political party you belong to. People love the Americans and so on. So all of it is really important.
Well, and also, I mean, I like to watch underdogs, and I like to watch people who are maybe on the outside who don't have rich lawyer dads who give them $3 million to start their podcast network. And the guys were all really smart, but they're DC guys. Like, I want to see some scrappy, underdogs come up, because they're the ones who can tell the story about what it's really like in this country to struggle, who don't know, who went to public school, what I mean? Those are the stories. Again, you're talking about storytelling. I know we all grew up here very differently, but I think similarly in that we didn't grow up with all the things, and we had parents who worked really hard, and we've had to work really hard and go to public school and have jobs when we're teenagers, and didn't have everything handed to us our whole lives. And I don't want to hear from rich kids tell me about socialism. You know, I just don't like, it's just cosplaying to me. I was like, if you have a trust fund, I don't really
trust you.
I don't, and it's not your fault. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not mad at you. Like, enjoy your trust fund, but like, we need more voices in the room that are able to tell the story of what every day.
Michelle Kinney. Oh my God! Bring the soda.
Oh no!
Oh my God!
Oh no!
What happened?
Just knocked on my doors. People heard my dog.
Yeah.
And look what just arrived from
Michelle.
Oh.
Oh my God!
Happy birthday!
Oh, that's so nice. Did you purposely arrange for that to come now during the show?
I did not. I thought it was coming.
Oh, they're beautiful.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Beautiful. I'm gonna
put those in your shower. Yeah.
What?
Put the eucalyptus in your shower when you're done, and like it's good when with the hot air and stuff.
Yeah,
so.
you see my husband behind me, like putting this on. Oh my God, Michelle.
Gorgeous. Yeah.
Gorgeous. Gorgeous.
So beautiful. Oh, happy birthday, Julie.
Guys, I am so overwhelmed. I mean, I am so lucky to have these friends and to thank you. I'm going to start crying now because this is just
oh my God.
No.
It's beautiful. And you know, that trip to New York where we're doing shots with the our gay besties in the bar, we can do that, but then we need to sit down and actually business plan out what everything that was just said in the last 15 or 20 minutes, because we are all aligning on the same idea of it's not just underdog voices, it's that the legacy media is no longer something that a very big percentage of Americans can trust, because we know that they are bought and paid for. And so it's independent media. This is it. This is where people are coming for information. And if we can monetize it and grow it at scale, this is the place to be.
And as somebody who still does legacy media, like I got to tell you, I go to MS Now.
Yes.
You know, a couple of times a week, and I still do my hits. And the reality is, like, the sets are beautiful. You know, you got all the production value, but you go there and nothing has changed. Like, the world has just passed. This is not a knock on MS. CNN's the same. Fox is the same. You go there, you do your hit, you get your 5 minutes to make your point. The other person, not even 5, you get your 3 minutes to make your point. The other person has to split it with you. And then you go to commercial break, and then they move on to a different topic. And the reality is there's no nuance. There's no discussion.
Right.
Can't get into it.
You can't get into it. There's no personal, like, you know, what did you guys know about, what would you know about me if you were watching me on MS? Nothing, right? Like nothing. Right. There's no personal connection. And they're like Chris Jansen, whose show I do a lot, right? Or any of these other people. Like, I love her. She's a wonderful person. But I know stuff about her because she and I talk off air. And like, I know what, and the reality is that you guys know stuff about us because you watch us. And we have this whole, you know, like community. And I know stuff about people in this chat. Like you know, and so on. It just doesn't happen in TV, and we've just changed that world. I don't miss TV at all. If somebody gave me a contract right now at one of these networks, I wouldn't take it. I don't want it because there's no point in it. I mean, I might want the money, but like, there's no, but like, there's nothing to be gained from it. Nothing. I've been doing it since the first time I did network TV was 2004. That was 22 years ago. Nothing has changed. Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, Chris Johnson and I were talking about, I was on her show during, you know, a commercial break, about how she and I have known each other for so long that we were hanging out together during Anna Nicole Smith's death.
Oh my God. That's a name I haven't thought about in a long time.
Back when MSNBC was, and their studios were in Secaucus, New Jersey. I mean, literally, that was Secaucus 100 years ago. And we're just talking about how long we've known each other. And like, Anna Nicole Smith died, what, 2004, 2005? I mean, that was a really 5, 6. It was a long time ago. Nothing has changed. Nothing. And it's annoying, and I can't stand it. And for somebody who says, I don't watch MS during the day anymore, MS at night's the same. Like, what? Nothing's changed. I'm not suggesting it doesn't have a use. It does. Right. But there's, like, what do you guys know about Chris Hayes?
Right. The only thing that's changed is how
Yeah.
What?
The only thing that's changed is how complicit they now are with. I'm just gonna do this.
Yeah, well, they're afraid. They're afraid. And I just want to say this too, because it's hard to, it's not hard. It's so easy to sit here for an hour and a half or 2 hours and talk to Lawrence and Dana. It is so easy to do because we all have shared values and interests, and we all just get along, and it's great. But it's hard to find those people, right? I mean, and I just feel like we're so fortunate to have met the two of you. And you're both such beautiful writers. And too, I mean, like, writing is such a skill to be able to communicate in this space too, in a way that's personal. And like, please, if you're not subscribed to their Substacks, and I truly mean this, and Julie too, like, you're all such beautiful writers. It's a skill that I wish I had. And it's not easy to do. And again, like, the legacy media, there is a place for it. There is a place for it, but they're telling stories in ways that they can't, and in a way that touches people differently. And I think that's a huge part of this too, is the writing. And I think the live stuff, like the stuff we're doing now, is going to be probably, front and center for this next frontier. But the writing is just so, it's such a big part of this too. And you guys are so good at it. So
Thank you. And I think the thesis that I want to present is we need the writing in addition to the beautiful ad making and video making, in addition to conversations like this, because, and I'm quoting Aaron Sorkin through the mouth of President Jed Bartlett, but like, Americans can handle complexity, right? Like, we can handle complexity. So much of our politics has been distilled down into simple sound bites and bumper stickers because that's what everyone thought would win. And maybe it does still win that way. But the times that we're in right now are freaking complex. We need people like Julie, who speaks Russian, who understands what's going through the mind of Putin, with Olga Lautman, to talk to us about what Russia's actually doing, right? We need the complex explanation.
Olga, like, I'll tell you why Olga is so helpful. Olga, and this is why you could never have an Olga Lautman in cable news.
Right.
No, but I'll tell you why Olga is so helpful. Olga sits there all day long and looks through Russian media, and she picks up stuff that obviously they say in Russian, or they write in Russian, that we don't ever see here. And that's how you get into the mind of Vladimir Putin, because nothing that they say is not something that he would approve, right? Like, you wouldn't be able to have that kind of nuance on cable.
Right.
Ever.
I mean, you should be able to, right? They should be bringing her in to talk about her.
There's no time, right? There's no time. And like, the beauty of cable news is you have to be pithy. You have to kind of get your point across quickly. And it's a skill, right? And not everybody has that skill, but the reality is she is so needed, and she is so useful, and she is so brilliant. The reality is that that's the beauty of independent media. You'd never have a show with Olga Lautman focused on this stuff, because it's not, but it's needed. And I think that's the beauty of independent media. And again, it's not for everybody. Like, there are people who watch these shows because they're much more lighthearted on Saturdays. Like, Dana, like you wanted to talk about the Rape Academy today that you wrote about, right? We want to do a whole separate Substack on that, but Saturdays are Saturdays for Sanity for a reason, right? We kind of want to stay sane. And like, not everybody's going to be into mine and Olga's Pax Americana show. It is really, really dense. Like, foreign policy stuff, and that's not everybody's cup of tea. That's okay. Like, that's okay. The problem with cable news is you need to have people watch every one of those shows, because if the 7 p.m. does well, it leads into the 8 p.m. that does well. People don't change the channel. It leads into the 9 p.m. that does well. People don't change the channel. And that's why the lead-in is so important. That's not the case here. You could watch it or don't watch it as her.
Right. And you can watch it in real time or go watch it another time.
Later, right. And
I
Olga
look at
I just want to say, Olga is a Russia war room party of one. Like, I mean, she is the war room, and she doesn't have NBC's panel of researchers and interns and stuff. It is just her.
It's just her.
And and that's another reason why we have her on the Americans Rewatch podcast, because having Julie, having Nita Jankowicz, who is a disinformation expert, having my sister-in-law, retired Lieutenant Colonel Jacqueline Urso, who was a JAG in the Marine Corps, who did stuff with NATO in Europe. You know, having Jeff Jarvis, who founded the Hollywood Reporter magazine as a TV critic, or used to be, you know, and even having my gay bestie Craig, who works in advertising. I mean, like all of these voices tell a story, and it's, you know, and me and Olga are like, you know, this far apart, but I think bring you know, equal value, at least, you know, in terms of a discussion. But Olga, man, nobody knows more than her. Like, nobody.
Let me tell you about Chernobyl. I can't watch that show a second time. Did you guys watch Chernobyl?
Oh,
Yeah.
God. It destroyed
devastating.
me.
Devastating.
Oh, God. It destroyed me. It destroyed me. And by the way, I forgot the guy who did Chernobyl. Is it Craig something? I can't remember his name.
Yep.
I have never, it destroyed me even more because that is the only guy that really captured.
Yeah, Craig Mazin. Craig Mazin's awesome. We had him when I used to produce one of the shows over at LP. And we had him on right after the full-scale invasion of Ukraine to come on and talk. Well, first of all, he was Ted Cruz's
oh my God.
college roommate.
Like,
it is so hysterical. It is just so funny. It's like Dan Savage and
Santorum.
I mean, oh my God, like how? But no, we had him on to talk to Tara and the other one about the full-scale invasion and like what he knew about Ukraine, and all the time and years he spent learning about Ukraine and what happened in Chernobyl and all of the Russian and Soviet downfalls. Like, I mean, because again, they were victims of their own, you know, denial about everything that was happening before and after, and still to this day. And just, if anybody knows, Craig Mazin also did The Last of Us. He's just genius, wonderful guy who I would just be we would be so lucky to have him on our show to talk about it. But Chernobyl, Chernobyl, man, everybody's got to see Chernobyl. So good.
Chernobyl's so good. And Chernobyl, I mean, oh God, I remember Chernobyl. Do you guys remember when that happened?
Of course. I was just gonna say, like, especially for like folks of Gen X who like, I was a little sciencey nerd kid, right? And this thing was happening in the Soviet Union, and I was like, what does this mean? You know, and nobody around me could really tell me. And so I read everything I could about it. And so then to watch the show all these years later, I mean, I cried every fucking episode, to tell you the truth. Because it is the stuff of nightmares.
Yes. And to come also on the heels of 3 Mile Island, right? Which was like, you know, had happened here in the late 70s, having a meltdown there on a bigger scale and killed more people. And to this day, you still can't go there, can you? Like, you
no, there's a huge exclusion zone still.
People do go just for, you know, like a day or something. Just to, I mean, I wouldn't go there, but
no way.
I was really panicked because, you know, my grandparents were so close to still in Moscow at the time, so mercifully the wind didn't carry it north to Moscow. Somehow carried it to Scotland. I mean, strangely, there were people in Scotland who were dying from cancer. As a result, and Scandinavia, but it somehow didn't reach Moscow. But I remember being so panicked because I was so worried about my grandparents when that happened. But it's such a devastating. God, that happened, and the Challenger explosion happened. Like they were came on the heels of each other.
Yeah.
Craig Mazin. So it's so funny. My first serious boyfriend when I was I will never be this cool again. I was a senior in high school and I was dating a sophomore from Princeton.
Oh, you told me about this.
So yeah, who was cooler than me. And it's all been downhill ever since. But
no, you didn't. Did you not hear Lawrence today tell you your chart? It is all uphill from there.
It is all uphill from here.
It is. Yeah. And we've heard about your amazing husband, so it doesn't sound like it's downhill.
From there until I met my husband. But anyway, so he was, I think, a year behind Ted Cruz at Princeton, or maybe they were the same year. So I remember when I had to interview Ted Cruz at Fox, I called him and I asked him, I was like, tell me like some good Princeton dirt on Ted Cruz so I know, you know, what to look for. And he said, in a school full of brilliant people, Ted Cruz was known as being like extra brilliant. He said,
I believe that. He's very
smart.
Yeah, but he said his hygiene, he was like, notorious for like not being overly hygienic. Said he was
Craig Mazin said he had a smoking jacket, like it was like that he would wear it around, and then he said when he first got his room assignment, like when you're a freshman, you get like a letter like that summer or whatever, and he's like, and it was like I was gonna have this roommate named Rafael Cruz, and he's like, Rafael Cruz sounds awesome.
Yeah.
How wrong was I?
Oh my God, what a story. So he emanates just like, Trump reportedly
stinky
reeks, right?
I have a sense that he's probably like cleaned up since then, like I'm sure.
Ted Cruz, not Trump.
Ted Cruz, not Trump.
Oh yeah.
This might just be a power move though. Men who just come in and are like, you don't like my stench.
I think he was just a stinky boy, Ted Cruz. Yeah. I think he was a stinky boy who's nobody ever told him to wash his ass or something.
I don't know. Change his clothes. It's just gross. Yeah. So that's what my ex-boyfriend told me.
Yeah. And Trump smells like diarrhea, ketchup, hairspray, and tanning lotion. I've heard.
And desperation.
And desperation.
Fear. Do you know what else my ex-boyfriend told me, by the way? And we should have him on the show. I keep calling him my ex-boyfriend. His name is Jason.
Hi, Jason.
He has not been my ex-boyfriend in so many years. He's just my friend, Jason. So he is now a professor of political psychology at University of Toronto.
Oh, wow.
He did this study maybe about 10 years ago, which I'm so fascinated by. And when I had a podcast about 10 years ago, I had him on the podcast and he talked about it, and we should have him come back. He has studied, it's like this next iteration of like how to psychoanalyze political behavior. And he has studied what makes somebody a Democrat versus what makes somebody a Republican.
Interesting.
There are a bunch of different metrics, which I can't remember right now, that came up with how to predict if somebody's going to be a Republican. One of them, which I think is so interesting, is Republicans have or maybe conservatives, I shouldn't say Republicans, have a predisposition to being grossed out by bodily fluids. So that if you are, so if you are grossed out by the concept of a woman's period, like really grossed out, like if you're a man, if you are grossed out by changing diapers, like you just can't stand the thought of like looking at, poop in diapers. If you are somebody who, like, we walk down the street, and I'm sure you have this in Seattle also. Oh, if you walk down the street and you see somebody peeing on the street, right?
I can't spit if I see a loogie.
Really? That's interesting, Michelle. You might be a Republican.
I'm not.
If you're,
I've seen more pee.
Like, I walk down the street and I see like people peeing on the street. I couldn't care less. I just keep walking.
Yeah. But
if you are somebody who like sees that and you're so grossed out and you're like, I am going to dwell on this for the rest of my life or like the rest of the day, you're much more predisposed to being a Republican. And
it's so fascinating.
It's fascinating. I'm not even, this is like all I remember from a decade ago. He is like the preeminent authority in studying psychological attitudes as to why somebody becomes one way or another. And a lot of it apparently seems to be innate. Which is also why Republicans don't live in cities, because they're grossed out by the dirt, all the stuff that we all cities.
Wow. And here's the other thing I would layer on that. I'm going to channel my inner Dan Savage, because I listen pretty religiously to Savage Love, and would say the things that we sort of fear end up becoming the things that are eroticized, that become kink. Oh. And he says like it was post World War II that there was all this like soldier kink. And in recent years, there's been a huge upswing in findoming. Do you know what that means?
What's that?
Findoming is people who are looking, it's mostly men seeking women, but I'm sure it works in all directions, to financially dominate them. Like there are whole Twitter accounts of people who are like, send me $50, you filthy pig. And men will, but men predominantly will empty their wallets to these findomers. And he's like, that came about after the 2008 financial crisis primarily. Like whatever it is we fear the most is what we eroticize.
Wow.
As a people, I don't mean we, like the four people on this call. And so if you think about the grinder spikes that happen when you think about
and TPUSA, I mean, Grindr crashes every time the Republicans come to town.
Well,
Benny Johnson, there's rumors about Scott Jennings. Did you guys see that on Twitter recently? I mean, I believe it. It's a former Broadway guy who's now a chef, like a legit person. I looked him up. He said, I've had enough of this guy. I'm so sick of him, blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to say what nobody else will. Back in Hell's Kitchen in 2000, whatever it was. And by the way, I was hanging out in Hell's Kitchen and I was at these bars. So I wonder if there, and Lawrence, I know you know, there's always some creepy straight guys sitting at the end of the bar, looking around, being weird. And I have to wonder if Scott Jennings was one of them. I'm not saying he was. I don't want to get sued, but but I believe it. I believe it. So he's saying basically that during this period of time, he would go cruising for like chorus boys in Midtown Manhattan. And I believe it. I totally believe it.
Yep.
Okay. We're not saying it's true. It's
Not
just
saying
in their own plausible.
Allegedly.
There's a legislator in New Jersey who was very anti-marriage equality about 15, 20 years ago. And he would always be at Splash, the gay bar in New York. And my friend Bill and I used to always joke that does he not think that people from do you think the Hudson River stops people from like knowing what's happening out of the river? Like it's literally like New York, New Jersey may as well be one place. And so it's just fascinating that like these people, and I'm not saying this about Scott. Okay, let me preface by saying I have the worst gaydar in the world, the worst. So I have no clue. I've been around Scott a lot. I couldn't tell you, don't know, don't care. I hope he's happy in his personal life. Actually, to be perfectly blunt, if he's not homophobic, and I've never known him to be homophobic, from my perspective, maybe he has said stuff. I don't recall him being that way. Although I think he was anti-trans, if I'm not mistaken, in which case he can go fuck himself. Sorry, Mr. and Mrs. Kinney. But
you only care when I say it. Sorry, keep going.
My dad is calling me right now, so I know he's not watching. But I will say that, like, God bless. God bless. If he wants to go do this while his wife's back in Kentucky, like that's between the two of them. And if he's happy, good for him. But I will say about people who are really bad, like this legislator was, about marriage equality and bad to gay people, and was giving floor speeches about how, if you're going to burn in hell, if you're, having anal sex, like, and you're hanging out in a gay bar, you and
you deserve to be outed. I'm sorry.
I did not out him. And my friend who's gay did not out him because I don't believe in outing people. I think that's wrong, no matter how awful they are. But like, I hope that guy has a lot on his deathbed. I hope he understands how much of his life he gave up and how much happiness he gave up to be a complete and utter asshole.
Yep.
Like, that's all. That's his punishment.
Right.
Whatever's happening to him internally.
I will say also there's somebody who I used to work with who used to be a Republican, and I'm not going to say who, told me a story that this person was like really into animals, like farm animals person. And there was
like into farm animals. Weird.
No, like as
a person, like having farm animals.
There was a bad storm coming, and so they had to move their animals to north to keep them safe. And I guess there was like these Reddit chats or something where you could connect with people that would help you, right? And so he became connected with this woman who was in the north, or like, I don't know, North Carolina or something like that. And they got to talking, and she was like, I do dominatrix stuff, and like I'm in like, and they were like, oh, okay, that's cool, that's fun, and got to talking. And she said, you'd never believe the people in DC.
Oh, I believe it.
Like elected officials who like to be whipped and screamed at and like all these things. And
it makes complete sense to me.
He was very specific about who some of them were. And of course, this information was relayed back to me. So I know who this person is, Republican senator, and it's not who you think. I'll tell you guys offline. Hires this dominatrix. And again, like in DC, there is a culture of silence, right? Nobody outs each other because it's like, you just don't do that. But there are these men who are really, really into this. Like, I'm talking whips and chains and being screamed at and like
I
all
believe
kinds
that.
of humiliation tactics. And every time I see this man in some committee or whatever being awful, I am like, oof, I know things about you, man. I
And
know
all the
things
reason
about
Michelle is telling people is because we don't want to get sued for defamation, not because we're trying to gatekeep any information.
No, I'm not trying to be cute about it. I would love to tell you guys. I just don't. If Mayday is going to survive, we need to not be paying $1 million in legal fees.
I will. Go ahead. Sorry, Lawrence.
And
it's not Lindsey Graham.
Am I the only one who, when hearing about BDSM, instantly flashes to Kelly LeBrock in Real Science, saying chips, dips, chains, whips, a little bit of candle wax on the nipples.
And Weird Science. Okay, that's a deep cut, Lawrence.
Deep cut. I have to say, of the '80s movies like that, Deep Science was not my favorite.
Yeah, no.
Is it Deep Science or Weird Science?
Weird Science. Weird Science.
Yeah, Weird Science.
Weird Science. Yep.
And I just want to say too, like we talked about this with Jeff Jarvis yesterday, that TMZ, which is a Los Angeles-based kind of gossipy news outlet, has opened up an office in Washington, D.C., and it's only like 3 or 4 people. And I think this is one of the greatest things that has ever happened to D.C. is to have these people there who are outsiders, don't care if you like them or not, are just there to really stir the pot and find dirt. And never before has anyone existed in the District of Columbia whose purpose is just this, and who asked Pete Hegseth during a press conference yesterday, "Are you on a power trip?" Used those words, "Are you on a power trip?" And Pete Hegseth fell into the trap. Immediately he said, "That's such a TMZ question," and then continued to go into this whole diatribe in which, yes, in so many words, I am on a power trip. Like it was, and this is what they're doing. And like it's delish. I love it.
I say this, having worked with a lot of politicians, I firmly believe that a lot of these people have a psychosexual dysfunction. Because I think that all the energy that normal people in their teens, 20s, whatever, channel into getting laid when they're single, or maybe not even when they're single, these people channel into popularity contests of winning elections. And I think that is something that is a very unique psychological function. And so nothing about it surprises me. And the BDSM thing doesn't surprise me at all, because they need to be humiliated. Like it so makes sense to me. By the way, if that's your thing, no judgment. God bless, like zero judgment. Until you start preventing other people from having their own.
That's what it is. It's the hypocrisy, not that.
Yeah.
When not kink shaming here.
Right. When you hurt other people, I mean, I interviewed this woman for one of my old blogs, and whose parents and grandparents were Holocaust survivors. And she said that her father always told her that, and I'm doing this because this is what she did. Freedom is like walking around the room like this, and you don't touch anybody, and you can wail your arms wherever you want. But the second that your fingers touch another human being, you give away a little bit of that freedom, because now you're involving other people and you are making them live with your choices. And the second that you start doing that and you hurt other people in your freedom, it's not freedom. And you know, how dare all of you? And there's so many of these people, the hypocrisy when it comes to women's rights and gay rights and marriage equality and trans rights. And I'm like, leave trans people alone. Like all of this.
But the trans thing really doesn't make sense to me, like any more than the gay thing made sense to me 20, 30 years ago. Yeah. Like it makes no sense to me. Like, what do you care? Like legitimately. And by the way, for anybody who's like, well, I don't want them in my bathrooms, they've been in your bathrooms, sweetheart. Like you just never knew. Like you just never knew. And did anybody do anything to you in that bathroom?
No,
like,
never.
Right. And the moment you start advocating for some kind of like genital check, you must immediately go look in the mirror, because the pervert is you, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Why are you thinking so much about other people's genitals?
Seriously.
And the victim may be you. I mean, the day may come when someone's asking you to verify.
I have a really good friend. I have a very good friend who has a trans son, right? So assigned girl at birth, and then 16, 17 was like, I can't live this way anymore. And is a brilliant young man at an Ivy League school, living his best life. But it's really, as you can imagine, and having incredibly supportive parents, like beyond supportive. But nevertheless, it's still tough. And the part that sucks now is that this young man, for his graduation, really wanted to go to Paris and can't, because now his passport says female, despite the fact that he does not look female, has been taking hormones to obviously to not look female. And like, what do you care? Like, legitimately, what? Like, I think about this young man, and he has an incredible future ahead. Like, he's just a uniquely brilliant, wonderful, kind person. And who is he hurting? Who is he hurting? Why? But why? Why are you building an entire ecosystem around hurting this man?
Well, you know why? It's about fear and power. And it used to be targeted at gay people until so many families were like, oh, but my kids are gay.
Yeah.
And now I have empathy. And that has now moved so far into the world of being accepted by a great majority that that's not effective anymore. So they needed a new scapegoat.
Yep.
And there are far fewer trans people than there are gay and lesbian people. And so far fewer, and probably far fewer of them are even out. So families don't have that same recognition. And so they're othering simply to drive votes and fear. I mean, that was like, I hated this campaign, but that Trump campaign that was like, he's for you, she's for they, them.
Right.
No. It was
they, them.
God, that was good writing in the worst of ways.
Great ad. And I spent a lot of time in Pennsylvania, which of course is like the swingiest.
Swingiest of the swing states.
The swing states. I saw that ad.
Oh God, yeah.
We didn't see it in New York, but I saw that ad.
I did all the time.
Oh, we saw it in New York, like when they bought national ads. And stuff.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, on the local, like, you could be watching hockey, watching
football. Every football Sunday and Monday nights, that would run every single
24/7.
Chicago, New York, LA. They left no stone unturned. They ran that shit everywhere nonstop. And it worked.
Yep.
It did. It was terribly brilliant, simple messaging.
Yeah, this is what, oh God, Kamala, they, them, Trump cares about you. God damn. I
hated it. But it was effective. And I have a lot of compassion for your friend's son, and I hope he gets to live his best life.
He's gonna be just fine. And the reality is, because he's got great parents and he's got a good head on his shoulders and he's a good guy and everything.
Parents is
the parents are fantastic. The father, by the way, is a Republican and not a Trump Republican, and it doesn't matter because the most wonderful, like, just fantastic people. But I'm saying this just simply to say that I just happen to have known this kid's journey. I don't know the kid that well, but I know the parents very well. And like, it's why, like to what end? To what end?
What end?
Yep.
And I write about this a lot, right, Julie? Like, my younger child went through a gender journey a few years back, and I founded a whole publication for parents and caregivers of gender nonconforming kids on Medium. She has that journey has kind of come full circle, and a lot of what I write about or wrote about, because I did most of that in the past, was this is pretty normal these days in liberal cities. That part of coming of age is kind of going on a gender and sexuality exploration. And sometimes it seems that sometimes it becomes a permanent change and part of their life moving forward. And other times they're like, no, that's going to move again. And it's going to move again. Like, it's just a very different perception of gender. And the wrong side of the political aisle, I hate calling them the right, they will say, oh, it's social media and it's social pressure and it's wrong. And to that I will say, well, social media is making people more aware that there are more options out there, but what harm is it doing if kids at a young age are challenging gender norms? As long as they know they're supported and loved during it, then it's fine. And as long as the parent is kind of open to any outcome and just that unconditional love piece comes forward so strongly, like, let them explore. The world will be a better place for this. I think if you have had the experience of challenging those norms at a young age, how can that not mean a future world where we're not trapped in these gender norms that are no longer working for us, right?
100%. And it's just, we don't need to belabor it other than to say, like, and Lawrence, you know this better than anybody, but I just remember the same debate happening with marriage equality 10, 20 years ago. And by the way, I think the Supreme Court's going to abolish marriage equality. I think it's only a matter of time.
No, 100% they will. Yeah. I mean, Thomas said that that's their goal. So
and they're going to do it. They're going to do it. And again, to what end? Like, now that it's happened. Yes, exactly. Thank you. But now that
what does your shirt say, Michelle? I can't quite see it.
Says, I believe Anita Hill.
Yeah.
Now that it's happened, and you have gay people who are getting married, who's it hurt? Like, has it hurt you? Like, is your marriage lesser now because two women can marry each other?
Yeah, our society's more stable
at this point. That proves nothing bad happened. Like, literally nothing changed. It's a shoulder shrug,
Yeah. Oh, okay, cool. Whatever.
Yeah.
Like, you guys.
Speaking of music, moving.
I have to go.
Yeah, I do. It's like
one of my best friends is coming into town today. I go to pick her up at the airport at 6 p.m. Shar is coming into town. I've got to clean my apartment so bad, y'all.
I feel the pain.
Oh my God. Same. Oh my God. Turns out throwing a birthday party for the Daily Whatever show. We turned one yesterday, our first anniversary, with 18 guests. That took a lot out of my week. So yeah, my house looks like, what's right behind me is okay, and everything else don't look.
Speaking of, real quickly, Michelle and I are finally, because we've been soft launching Mayday for a year, we're finally going to hard launch Mayday in May.
Yes.
Perfect.
And we're going to try to do, we're looking at 12 hours of back to back to back. You both better be there.
Oh,
100%. As much as you need us there,
if you need fill-in, like, you got it.
But we are working on a great lineup, and so we haven't even asked you guys because we're still working on the lineup. Obviously, you're
there.
Yeah, this is your official ask.
Please, thank you.
Yeah, we're
100. Hell yes. You need help with booking. You need help with logistics. You need anything you need. We're here for you. Also, you're going to be on the Daily Whatever show on May Day, on May 1st.
Yes, on Friday. Friday.
I know Julie's coming. Are you coming too, Michelle? Are you available?
Oh, Michelle.
If I can, I will be there.
Yeah.
Amazing.
TBD.
We will at least have half of the Mayday network there. So
nice. Okay.
Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, we'll talk after the show about how we can help you.
I'm going to play us out with the Shohei Ohtani video, which I teed up. Stay, don't stay, up to you. But I'm going to play us. I'm going to play us out. But before we go, Dana and Lawrence, you make us better. This is my favorite. This is my favorite thing that I do all week long, and we do lots of stuff. And this is just the most fun, and it keeps me sane. And that's the whole freaking point of this show is in this world of darkness to find things that bring us joy and maybe a little bit of pettiness too, because that we need that too, and a little bit of gas. But otherwise, Julie. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
The flowers being delivered in the middle of the show.
I know. Sorry, I did not plan that.
No, it was just amazing. I thought it was my cleaning lady who's blown me off for this third month in a row. But in fact, it was so much better.
Amazing.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna play this, and guys, we'll see you soon. And check out. Oh, and here's a favor people can do for me, because I had to re-upload this week's episode of The Americans Rewatch podcast because the sound was so atrocious. So I had to go in and remaster the audio and repost it. So we lost a bunch of. So if people want to go into the description and click on that and watch it with us, that would be fantastic. I would appreciate it so much. Otherwise, feel free to like and subscribe. And please go to subscribe to Dana and Lawrence on Substack and the Daily Whatever show. Please go watch it. It's fantastic. Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern, right?
Yes.
10 a.m. Eastern, which is live. And so you can join the chat with them as well and have a grand old time. But in the meantime, guys, this is Wonder Boy, which I made at the end of last baseball season about Shohei Ohtani and immigration. I'm going to show that now. And to everyone else, we love you.
Bye,
Goodbye.
guys. Love you. Bye.
There have been perfect games.
Robinson dashes to the plate. Sandy Koufax, his second consecutive.
There have been no hitters. walk-offs, and miracle ninth innings. Baseball has always given us nights that felt touched by something greater than the game itself. But then, on Friday night, under the lights of Dodger Stadium, one immigrant gave us the kind of performance we'll tell our kids about. They're calling it the greatest game ever played. 3 home runs.
And there goes Ohtani! Shohei! Ohtani, did he? Ohtani! Ohtani has done it again! His 3rd home run! This was about as impressive as it gets. The bat flip.
6 shutout innings.
Whoa. Come right back on in 5 innings. 1 and 2 on Teray.
One man doing what used to take an entire team. But maybe it was something more.
This is where he goes.
Maybe it was a reminder of what baseball and this country are supposed to be about.
They get 6 more outs.
Baseball has always been America's pastime, but it's the people who come to America who bring their talent, their dreams, their discipline, and hard work, who make it something greater. Shohei Ohtani came here with a dream and a fastball.
He held a press conference teams not to
He crossed an ocean to play the game he loved. He reminded us why we watch, why we dream, and why this game endures. Baseball was born here, but it's been kept alive and made greater by those who crossed oceans and borders, proving again that greatness isn't born in just one place, that the American dream doesn't have a birth certificate. It has a heartbeat. And on Friday night, it sounded like this.
Ohtani, did he? Ohtani! Ohtani has done it again! His 3rd home run!
Connects us all. From fields in Cuba, Venezuela, the Dominican Republic, Japan, Puerto Rico, to the sandlots of the Bronx and the cornfields of Iowa. In a country built on possibilities, sometimes it takes someone who came from somewhere else to remind us what it all really means.
There goes Ohtani, lighting up the highlights already.
Baseball may be America's pastime, but baseball has been made greater.
Pitcher and a hitter.
By those who choose to play it here. They all chase the same dream, to stand beneath these lights. And belong.
Bye, everybody. Have a good weekend.
Bye, everyone.